Nestled on the rugged Atlantic coastline with a stunning stretch of beach on Nova Scotia's south shore, you'll find White Point Beach Resort. A lot of folks have heard of Ivy, the ghost of White Point Lodge, but as is usually the case, there's a lot more than one ghost haunting the property. I have heard stories about at least 3 White Point ghosts, counting Ivy. I don't know much about this first ghost, except that he was a 9-year-old boy who had lived with his family in the area. He drowned while rafting off of White Point, and his body was never recovered. I have watched those waves and that water, and it is easy to imagine just how difficult it would be to try and steer a raft out there. His ghost has been seen out there on the water, sometimes on his raft and sometimes just standing there, staring at the shoreline. Ivy was the wife of Harvey Elliott, one of the previous owners of the lodge, way back in the 1920s. Ivy managed the dining room. She was a tough lady to work for by all reports. She was a stickler for detail, and she would not put up with the slightest infraction of culinary etiquette. For example, if a piece of silverware was placed incorrectly, Ivy was known to pick up that piece of silverware and fling it at whoever had dared make that mistake. I've heard many other employees tell similar tales. Mind you, I haven't heard all that much said about Ivy since the tragic fire of November 2011 and the subsequent rebuilding of the lodge in November 2012.
By the time I got here, in the evening, obviously my wife and I came right down from Halifax just as soon as we heard about it. And so when we got here, there was more fire trucks here than I've ever seen in my entire life, from all over this end of the province. And but by then the main lodge was pretty well leveled, but they were able to keep the fire from spreading to any of the outbuildings at all. So that part was wonderful. But being down here with all our employees that night was probably the most emotional thing I've ever had to go through in my entire life. Obviously, they were all extremely upset. They were all crying because the majority of them are all local people. And at that time, we probably would have had 170, 180 folks that no longer had a job. And a lot of them, White Point was the only job they'd ever had. So it was their home. And so sure, when you evaluate all the options, you have to say, you know, I could walk away from it, take the insurance money and turn the thing into a housing development, or we could rebuild. But when it really comes down to it, there's no choice.
Finally, let me tell you about the third ghost that haunts at the White Point Lodge. The ghost of a groundskeeper named Danny, who lived in one of the cabins. Danny was a close friend of Ivy, and the two of them often took long walks together in the evening. After Ivy passed away, Danny was often seen walking along the trails, talking to himself as if he were talking to his good friend Ivy. Several employees tell me that the ghost of Danny is still seen at the cabin, cabin 137, and on the walking trails as well. I'd like to imagine that he and Ivy are still walking together, keeping up a conversation going that has lasted way past a shared lifetime of friendship. These three ghosts, in my opinion, definitely rank White Point Lodge a spot on my top 10 list of most haunted locations in Nova Scotia.
Coming up, the team heads to White Point, Nova Scotia in search of the ghosts of White Point Beach Resort.
So here at cabin 137, we're just gonna see if we can actually get in touch or come in contact with anything that might actually be here. Any spirits or energy that might be here. So first and foremost, we're gonna turn on the recorder here. We're gonna see if we can get some EVP, electronic voice phenomena. So just a simplistic recorder, anything that might not be picked up by the human ear could potentially be picked up later on. So I'll set this recording. Okay, so we have that recording now. And let's just try the simple EMF detector.
EMF detectors locate sources of electromagnetic radiation. Since ghosts are thought to emit electromagnetic radiation or disturb existing magnetic fields, these devices can be used to potentially detect them.
Danny, are you there? Come forward, Danny. We'd like to talk to you. Danny, can you come forward and make my EMF detector go off?
I got goosebumps. I got serious goosebumps going on.
So just so that we're all on the same page here.
What is going on here?
So something just moved in between us.
Whew.
All right.
I was feeling like the hair stand up, and I can't explain that, to be honest. And I'm a skeptic.
At least once or twice throughout the time period that we were recording, there was a feeling of unease. Not necessarily that we could say for sure that it's like there was somebody in the room with us or something, a presence of some kind, but there was just something unsettling about the atmosphere at that time. There was a disturbance in the atmosphere surrounding us. So we're going to turn on the spirit box.
The spirit box uses radio frequency sweeps to generate white noise. This gives some entities the energy they need to communicate. Interaction occurs as voices or sounds coming through the static.
Danny, if you're here, or if anybody's here whatsoever, doesn't only have to be Danny, please feel free to talk to us. Let us know if you're here. Please talk to us. If you are Danny or there's somebody else here, please speak your name. Tell us who you are. Tell us who's here. Sounded like hello. Yeah, it kind of did, didn't it? I mean, we got the EVP going, so we'll go back through that at one point.
Is that you, Danny, trying to communicate with us?
Say hello again.
I got goosebumps again. I literally have goosebumps.
So once again, just keeping in mind, this is only a receiver. This isn't transmitting anything.
Are you the only one here, Danny?
It sounded like yes.
Yes.
You heard that too?
Yes. Are you angry, Danny, that different people stay in this cabin all the time? Overnight? I swear that was overnight.
Sounded close to that.
Did you just say overnight, Danny?
Okay. I'm going to leave the spirit box going out here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'd like you to stay out here with the equipment, recording the spirit box, the REM pod, and everything else. I'm going to take with the night vision. What do you think with the FLIR? I want one camera back there with me for a minute. I'll go with the night vision. You guys stay out here. Let Aaron know if there's any change in the temperatures or if anything's shifting around. I'm going to go in the back room for a minute. Is there anybody here? Please let me know. Is that you, Danny? If that is you, please make the EMF detector light up further. You can do that. Is that you, Danny? Is there anybody here? General activity, nothing huge. If there's somebody making this happen, please increase it. Say something to us. Let's head back out. Doesn't seem to be anything major going on here. Following our investigation inside of cabin 137, when we kind of felt like we had just exhausted the general call and response scenario, we didn't go too far with it because you know, going down that rabbit hole of asking further and further questions and looking for more response, we weren't really getting anything, so it didn't really go much further than that. We decided to gather up some equipment and actually head out to the trail side. Once again, kind of making a call out for Danny or whoever might be there listening. So we're standing down on the trail where there are reports that people have seen Danny walking, the ghost of Danny specifically. It's down along this trail side here that he used to walk quite often, and it's almost like that residual energy, the spirit has been seen. So I have the EMF detector. It's late at night. We'll just kind of ask a couple of questions, see if we can get any kind of call and response from anything that might be here. So, Danny, are you here with us? Let us know. Danny, we're looking to talk to Danny. Or I heard that there's another person that might be here, potentially. Ivy. Is Ivy here? Danny or Ivy? If either of you are here, please let me know. It's a beautiful location. I can only imagine you would like to spend more time down here, or you spend time down here often. This is a safe space. We're friends. Just looking to communicate. Just looking for confirmation that you might still be here. Just gonna walk further up the trail here, just kind of walk up a little bit closer. Danny, Ivy, anybody? If anybody's here, please come forward, let's talk. Let yourself be known. Is that you, Danny? Ivy? Danny, is that you? Please do that again. Ivy, if that's you, please do that again yourself. Thank you. Can you stop? Move away for a moment. Thank you. One more time, can you do that just to show me that you might be here? Come forward. Set off my detector, please. If that's really you, please set off my detector. Come forward. Thank you. Okay. If you can stop the detector from going off, please. I have some questions, if you're willing to answer. Is this Danny? Please set the detector off if this is Danny. Is this Ivy? Please set the detector off if this is Ivy. Danny, is that you?
Please talk to us. Who is it that's here with us? Can you please tell me your name once again? I thought I heard something. Something coming across, but what it was, I don't know.
All the call-in response that happened back on the trail, it didn't really last very long. So once again, not like I could sit there and have an entire conversation or be able to dig too far deeper. You know, can't really go down the rabbit hole much further with it. It kind of stopped pretty bluntly and pretty quickly at one point. Is there a possibility that somebody's gonna at one point come across something here? Absolutely. I believe that people are gonna continue to experience things. Is it worth coming back and checking it out? Yeah. You never know what you're gonna find in the long run.